Okay, so I'm going to show you how to finish up Massey's head. So as you can see, the antlers are attached. They're just pretty floppy. I've placed the eyes here and here. They're kind of in line with the nostrils. And so the first thing I want to do is get a length of my MC yarn, and I'm just going to try and make these antlers a little bit more stable. So to do that, I'm just going to sew relatively wide on the head around the antlers, pretty high up on them to give them a bit more stability, and just try and get them slightly less floppy here. There we go. Also going to kind of go in one stitch closer or inwards towards the middle, and you can see that we've already got them slightly better here. Just going to go through one more time here, go in, exit here on the other side, and then also fix this side up. So this is just so that they don't flop around quite as much. So that'll be step one of finishing the head. You can see I'm going pretty high up on the antlers here, just to grab a bit more fabric. You can also put pipe cleaners inside the antlers if you do want them sticking up and slightly more stable. So I'm good with that. I kind of love floppy, so I'm just gonna tie this off here, leave that end to cut off later, and also make sure I tie off this end. I usually weave in all my ends at the end. Okay, once we have the antlers, we have our two ears here. Let me just adjust this a bit. We have our two ears with a long end on to sew on. So I'm going to take my ear, I'm going to make sure I flatten it so that the end is on the outside, and then I'm just going to go through the opposite side to kind of tug the bottom together, and you'll see it kind of gives me this flat edge. And this flat edge I am just going to sew kind of here right under the antler so that it's sideways like this. So I'm just gonna lost my thread here. 1, 2. We don't crochet these in because they are sewn on sideways flat, and that's not really possible when you're doing rounds. So I have one ear here, and then just make that a little bit more stable here, and tie it off. And then we'll do the same on the other side. So again, take your end, flatten the ear out, go into the opposite side to pull it together like this, and sew it in like 1 to 2 stitches under the horns. Antlers, not horns. That was the goat. Make sure you're going through both sides of the ear to make sure it's nicely secure. I continuously lose my needle, another reason why I really hate sewing. And tie off. And I'll weave those in. So now he has his antlers, yep, and he has his ears. Right, so next what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take a worsted yarn, because it doesn't take up so much space, but you can use the same MC yarn if you want. And we're gonna enter, so if you look at the side of him, he kind of has this lip, and so we're gonna enter in the center, right behind the lip here, and I'm going to exit out in his nostril. I'm going to leave some thread at the end here, and then I'm going to exit in again in his nostril, just kind of go a stitch over, and exit in the other nostril, and again enter in the same nostril, just a stitch over, and exit through this. I wouldn't exit into the same hole because you're going to be pulling this together. So then you can just kind of go around somewhere here and exit out. And now you're going to pull that tight, pull both ends tight, and you can see he's kind of getting this triangle shape for his nose. Like this, with the nice lip at the bottom. So when you're happy with that, you can tie it off. I'll leave it for a second because I like to adjust it after the eyes. And then the last thing is the eyes. So again, worsted yarn, go in under one eye, exit through the other. Then I usually go in one stitch next to the eye, exit a stitch higher on the other eye, like that. So you just gone around the two eyes, and then I tie these, pull a bit to make the eyes go closer together, and then tie it off here as well. This is sometimes better to do with the MC yarn because you're kind of tying, you can kind of sometimes see the worsted yarn if you don't have the same color. I'm just gonna go around here so that I'm in the same hole. And then you have his face.